Now, there is a complete process here that I'm gonna go with you through, and I'm gonna show you exactly what to say and how to say it. And I'm gonna explain you why I say it in exactly that way. But let's just start with one thing. I give you my example, but then you will have to adapt it so that it makes sense for yours. Because in the introduction, right after the greeting, you wanna drop the big bomb. What is the big bomb? It's the big hook. It's the big thing that your product can do for them. And make sure this is only one thing. You don't want to talk about it does this and that, and it becomes very difficult to actually understand, because think of it like that. You're calling somebody, he out of the blue answers, and you're like, he will not get it. So make it simple and make it a massive thing. Make it, what your product can do in the ideal case, make it big, and then live up to that. But one thing to really keep in mind is those three things here, especially in the first 5 seconds. You want to come across as an expert, you want to be enthusiastic as hell, and you want to be very, very smart. You want to be perceived as an expert who is smart and who's there to help them. Now let's get started. Bring! Hey John, this is Stefan with Google. The reason for the call is that we recently started doing business with a competitor of yours, and we were able to increase their sales by 40% in 90 days. I want to connect with you to show you exactly what we did for them that we could do for you. Got a minute? To make sure I'm not wasting any of your valuable time, let me ask you. So that is the exact blueprint and how to say what you want to say. Now, for you it might be different. You might not think about, the 40% reduction in 90 days. It could be a forecast that you do. It really has to do something with your product. And again, it has to be the big hook, the big claim of your product, of what your product is doing, because you want to have them interested before you actually know what are their pain points. You need to go out big, something important. And then, after the whole process, or after what I just told you, when I say, in order to make sure I'm not wasting any of your valuable time, let me ask you, that's when you segue into the main part, which is going to be qualifying, where really you gather massive amounts of intelligence about them and how to sell to them. Now, what I want to do now is I showed you what to exactly say, and I want to talk about now how to say it and why I said it in that way. Now, if you watched carefully, you're gonna hear a few tonalities that we talked about before, and these are very important, especially in the beginning. If you don't get these across, you're gonna get a no interest, not interested, hang up. Let's talk about how exactly to use your tonality to get this across. So you remember, pick up the phone, and I said, hey John, this is Stefan with Google. Now note that I did not say, hey John, this is Stefan from XYZ company, or this is Stefan, De Vito from XYZ company. I left all of that out. I just said, this is Stefan from Google. Especially if your company is known, you do actually want to use that company. If your company is not known, you might even consider just saying, hey John, this is Stefan. Now, the way I talked about here was really this very enthusiastic, almost over the top tonality. I have to keep a little bit back so that it doesn't go all the way too much, so that you actually come across as an expert, and I want to come across as somebody very smart, right? Now, right after that, I went into something where I basically flipped that. I flipped this tonality and instead talked about the reason for the call, John, is that we have recently started doing business with a competitor of yours. So here, guess what tonality that is? It's like much lighter, you take back the volume, and it's the tonality of scarcity. Because you want to show here that you have something special for him. That it's not just like a call where he's going on, this typical salespeople approach. So very important for you to cut your own tonality and to flip it, which is difficult. If you start out with so much energy and then take it back, the reason for the call, it's difficult, so practice this one. After that, you actually want to again flip back, back and forth between them. So you want to be again enthusiastic when you say that, and we were able, that's like you want to be an expert, but we were able, something that is wow, you know, like we were able. And now you can again, if you want to, not so important here, but you could again take it a notch back and say, to increase their sales. Oh, to increase their sales, we were able to increase their sales. And then you again flip it by 90% in 40 days. So, you know, this like fast, silent and slow, and fast again, it creates this, you know, this massive amount of interest really. We were able to increase their sales by 90% in 40 days. What you really want to do here is flip back and forth between the tonalities so that he doesn't get bored and he's like, oh wow, what's going on? It's basically sending so many messages to the brain that he's like, oh wow, I have to, you know, it's in a way wowing them without them really realizing it, which you know you want to do. What I want to do with you is I want to connect with you to show you exactly what it is that I did for them. So again, could be you know, scarcity tonality that you could use here again. Something again, taking it back a little bit to again show you're an expert, not just all over the top. You're like an expert, and you have something scarce. You're actually offering something here. I want to show you exactly what I did for him that I could do for you. Now after that, you want to flip the tonality and use the reasonable man tonality. How does it go? Got a minute? Got a minute? Well, of course I got a minute. Got a minute? You know, it's really this reasonable man tonality where he basically cannot say no. He's like, of course I got a minute. And at that moment, it's really where, you know, unless he interrupted you earlier, he really couldn't say anything. But now that he says, well, of course I got a minute, he's actually gonna very likely actually to listen to what you have to say then. Now, because you just, you know, basically got this yes out of him, this got a minute, you now want to assure him. So that's why now you go on and say, in order not to waste any of your time, John, let me ask you. And the tonality that you use, you know, to say that is the really caring tonality. So really this caring, you know, this Bill Clinton voice where you're like, John, in order not to waste any of your time, let me ask you. When you say that, really feel it. You do not want to waste anybody's time. It's very important that you feel what you're saying, because then it really comes across naturally. John, in order not to waste any of your time, let me ask you. And this is how you segue into the main part of the cold call. And after the main part, you want to close this appointment. We're going to go over all of these in detail. For now, really go back to this segment a couple of times until you are sure about the tonalities to use, and actually stop this video, you know, at the specific points to practice and drill these tonalities, because it's not something you can just do by hearing it once. You really need to do it yourself. Very important. Do that. Make this your main video to watch here. You know, watch it 10 times. Practice it. Really also say it. Don't just say it silently. Say it out loud. That's really gonna help you and make the difference between the 80% of really bad salespeople and the 20% that you will be part of very soon.